to our channel. Katie here, and I am coming at you with another, I guess this isn't technically like a TTC update, but it is in the realm of trying to conceive. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. So today I'm going to be talking about the difference between periods. So if you're a boy, I would probably see you for our next video. Today I'm going to be talking about the difference between a period on Provera and a period on Clomid. I tried to find this information out and I really couldn't find a whole lot of information, so I thought after I experienced both, I would make a video on it. I'm going to start with periods on Provera. So Provera is a progesterone supplement. You take it as prescribed by your doctor. I would take it for 7 days, and then usually somewhere about 3 or 4 days after I took my last pill, my period would start. Personally, my periods before Provera, they would kind of teeter on and then teeter off. So I would spot for a couple days, bleed for a few more days, and then spot for a couple days on the tail end. But with Provera, I had no spotting. I did not have a super heavy flow, and I had very mild cramping. But with Provera, let me tell you, it was seriously like a period from hell. And I don't say that lightly. I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I usually don't take ibuprofen or anything for cramping. I just kind of drink lots of water and let it go. And I know that eventually it'll stop. But with Provera, dude, ibuprofen didn't even like eat into the cramping. It was so bad. And the flow, I am personally a menstrual cup user, and they're about this big, and they hold 15 milliliters of fluids, and it is equivalent to 3 regular tampons. So 3 tampons worth. And they're supposed to be good for 12 hours. My first time on Provera, I completely filled up a menstrual cup in under 4 hours. So I would have bled through 3 tampons in 4 hours. And that's how cycle day 1 and 2 were for me. All the times I used Provera, they were very heavy flow, they were really bad cramping, headaches, they were just really overall terrible. And then cycle day 3 through 4, they were fine. They were like a normal day. I had no issues. I didn't need to wear any sort of backup, and they were totally fine. And the cramping was still relatively bad, but it wasn't as terrible. I didn't really need to take any ibuprofen for it. And also notice that I said cycle day 1 through 4. Before Provera, I would have almost 10 days of bleeding, counting all of that spotting. So it seriously cut down my period length, which was amazing. No one wants to be bleeding for 10 days. So reasons that you would take Provera is if you do not have a period very often. My doctor prescribed it to me because my period had gone more than 3 months, and it equated to a almost month-long cycle. So she instructed me to take it and not let my period go more than 60 days between. So I would usually start Provera on cycle day 45 or so. The pluses of Provera were that it substantially minimized the length of my cycle or my period, and probably the minuses were all the symptoms that came along with it. Now I'm going to go ahead and move into a period on or after Clomid. So Clomid is a fertility medication. It helps people who do not ovulate. So depending on whether you have a period naturally or if you have to induce it, you may have to start with Provera first. And then Clomid, depending on your doctor, they'll prescribe it either like cycle day 3 through 7, 4 through 8, 5 through 9. It all depends on how they prescribed it. For me, it was cycle day 3. So I would start with the Provera, and on cycle day 3, I would start the Clomid. Now with Clomid, you're only going to have a period if you ovulate. So I naturally don't have my own period start. So I wasn't really sure about that. But if you do ovulate, you will have a period. And personally for me, my periods on Clomid were significantly different than my periods on Provera. I was really nervous the first time that I ovulated on Clomid because I had no idea. All I knew was Provera gave me terrible, horrendous periods. So I was kind of expecting that because Clomid is another medication. They say the average cycle is 28 days. So from the first day of your period to the last day of your period, which would mean that you ovulate somewhere around cycle day 14. For me on Clomid, my period usually starts on cycle day 31. So it's a little bit longer, which means that I usually ovulate somewhere between cycle day 17 and 18. With Clomid so far, I have been spotting a couple days. I'll usually start spotting on cycle day 29, but I won't get a full flow until cycle day 31. The flow is absolutely nowhere near that of Provera. It is very minimal. For me, I was able to use my menstrual cup as directed for the 12 hours, and I had no leaking or breakthrough. I did notice that my period was a little bit more mucousy or dischargy than it has been in the past, and the only real reason that I know that is because, it's kind of like oil and water, so in the menstrual cup you'll be able to see the difference between uterine lining shedding blood and then the discharge, which may be TMI, but this is a period video. From cycle day 1, which I usually spot 2 days before, and the last day, it's usually about 4 days, so there's really about 6 days of bleeding, and I don't really spot afterwards, so it was really minimal. For me, Clomid periods were really nothing to concern myself over. I was nervous for no reason except for the fear of the unknown. So if you're feeling especially nervous about a period on Clomid because of how bad your periods were on Provera, do your best not to worry. Obviously every body's different, everybody's different, every period's different, so you may have a completely different experience than me. But I hope this gives you a little bit of peace of mind. In the comments below, let me know, did you have terrible periods on Clomid and normal periods on Provera? Are you opposite of me? Or did you never have a period on Clomid because you got pregnant the first time? If so, congratulations, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye guys. And we are crossing the first thing off of our infertility bucket list.